Well, what's going on, everybody? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another cheeky little late night stream for you lads and lasses. We are here with the evening's news and day's goings on and the latest information in regards to Manchester United and specifically the takeover, but also we're going to be covering all the rest of the news that's going on as well. How are you all doing tonight, guys? Thank you very much for joining us. Do us a favour at the start of this stream. Smash that like button on this video. Give us a massive thumbs up. That'd be much appreciated. Do drop the likes on it. It's free to like the video, so give us a boost up there on the old YouTube algorithm by smashing the like button. Also, share it around wherever you want to. You can give us a repost. The link is pinned at the top of the live chat there. Just go over there. Click that link and give us a repost and we'll shout you out a little bit later on during the show. Oh, yes, indeed. Welcome into everybody in the live chat. Cheers for getting in. Let's see who's here. We've got Dean M, Bell6891, El Professor, Alex Core, Indy, Josh, DJ Superfly Guy, Elliot, Alex, Rajat, what's going on? Staygold, Danny, yes, indeed, Jay Fader, David Lee, Red Olsen, Sean Hockridge, Duke of Rodtown, Gordon, Switch Extra, Kingslayer, Woody, Manny Slew Flacky, get in there, my son, what's going on? Simon, Daniel, Gary, Sanjay, Kingslayer, Zip, Jip, Zip, and everybody else as well. Thank you so much for getting in here, guys. I appreciate you. Yeah, so smash the thumbs up at the start of this show, hit the like, share it around on social media, and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe. We're only 184 people away now from 76k. So hit the old subscribe button if you're new and get yourself involved in the chat. Fully interactive channel as always. We'll be dipping in and out, see what you guys are saying throughout the show, and we'll have a Q&A at the end. What a shit show, guys! Can we please get a hashtag Glazers out in the live chat, like Kate Cadet has done here, but can we also get a hashtag Sir Jim out as well? That's right, he's not even in. But let's get a hashtag Sir Jim out and all. And let's also get a cheeky hashtag Full Sale Only in the live chat as well. It's a disgrace. So let's get into the latest sorts of bits and bobs in regard to the takeover news and what's being reported anyway by lots of different journalists around the gaff. So various outlets reporting basically that the shithouse Glazers are considering, or at least thinking about perhaps accepting an offer from Sir Jim Ratcliffe for a minority sort of share of the football club. Sir Jim Ratcliffe expected to be submitting a bid worth somewhere in the region of around about £1.5 billion for approximately 25% of the football club. If this is true, then it means that they would obviously retain the control of the football club, and perhaps in the future the idea would be for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to essentially acquire more of the football club over a period of time. This is his way to get into the football club, but it certainly doesn't really help Manchester United much at all now. Okay, I guess we would be generating some cash to buy new things, to maybe buy some new players, to maybe improve the stadium, revamp the stadium, that sort of thing. But it doesn't get rid of the big issue at the football club. That is the parasitical cancer that is the gashtastic Glazer shithouses at the top of the football club, So it doesn't really help that, does it? It would just mean that they retain their stranglehold on the football club. Potentially some of the Glazers would be prepared to sell some of their holdings in the club. It would leave some on board. It would leave Sir Jim Ratcliffe obviously having a minority stake in the football club. So basically what's happening here is it seems there's a certain level of flexibility that there is from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Basically, he's just a bit of a rat, isn't he? There you go, and he just wants to get into the club, worm his way into the club any which way that he can do. He knows that from a full sale point of view, Sheikh just seems just too rich and powerful and, has too much money, and he's not even trying to buy the whole football club. So Jim's trying to buy 51%, or at this moment, it seems like maybe he'd be prepared to have a separate offer on the table, which would be, for a minority share, approximately 25%, which basically means that he just doesn't really care, does he? He just wants to get his foot in the door any which way that he can and get some sort of control over this football club at some point. That doesn't really that doesn't really tell me that he's the sort of potential owner that's going to take Manchester United back to the glory days. Yeah, okay, let's just say it is 25% for 1.5 billion. That's valuing the club at about 6 billion overall for the 100% of the football club, essentially. Now, 1.5 billion, yeah, that can do quite a lot for Manchester United. It can buy us facilities, it can buy us, upgrades in terms of the stadium, and it can improve networks, scouting networks, recruitment networks, all that sort of stuff. It can increase all of that. But the biggest fundamental issue is, of course, the Glazers. And the Glazers are the big problem at Manchester United, and we know that they siphon money out of this football club. I mean, even if we were to sell, say, 25% of the club for 1.5 billion, okay, that's valuing the club at 6 billion, but what happens to the £1 billion debt that we are currently in? What happens to that? So that just stays, and we have to service that debt every single year, like is currently the case. I mean, it's an absolute joke. If this is the case and the Glazers end up just selling a piece of Manchester United just to generate shitloads of cash so they can have a big fat payday off in the sunshine and keep a stranglehold of the football club for the future where, let's face it, this price of this football club is going to increase over the next 10 years. Of course it is. And they can make more money in the future. It's just absolutely plain wrong. And if Sir Jim Ratcliffe is privy to that and is happy to just buy a portion of the football club at this moment and not even change that much at Manchester United, because it wouldn't change that much, then he's just as big a part of the problem as well, if you ask me. And he's just the sort of rat individual that we don't want at Manchester United. We want somebody that's going to buy the whole football club. We want a full sale. Of course, there's only really one sort of proper candidate offer on the table there, which is from Sheikh Jassim, which depends who you believe, but somewhere around about 5 to 5.5 billion pounds is what he's prepared to pay for Manchester United. It's a fucking cracking deal. Now, we know that the Glazers are playing a lot of games at the moment, just waiting it out, trying to get as much money as they possibly can do, because they don't care about us fans. They don't care about the club and trying to get them get the club to do better on the pitch. They just care about the money. So that's up to them. They're quite happy to just wait it out, see what offers there are. And in terms of offers for percentages of the club, it will be based on what's more valuable to them in the long run, won't it? They're businessmen. They're clever people, unfortunately. And of course, they're not just going to accept an offer for the entirety of the football club if it works out less than selling a piece of it for more, i.e. the amount of percentage that they can get per, profit per percent, basically. So if, let's say that 25% is worth 1.5 billion pounds, that puts a value of 6 billion. Well, if Sheikh Jassim's only offering 5 billion, maybe they'd be prepared to just sell a piece of the football club to get that 1.5 billion into the football club because it's value in the club a little bit higher. That's the concern that I have. So, it does seem like there's a lot of flexibility with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He just wants to get his way in any which way he can, which is gash. And unfortunately, I don't think anything changes at this football club if Sir Jim comes in. In fact, it might even get worse. It might even get worse because we still be in a big amount of debt. And it would just be making it seem like we're actually prepared to invest and do the right thing by improving facilities and stadiums and things like that. Like, I don't think it actually leads to us becoming a better football team, sadly. They might just do that to sort of, dress us up, to give us a bit of window dressing, essentially. But it doesn't really help us behind the scenes. It doesn't really help us on the pitch. So that's where I'm at, guys. It's very frustrating. We're going to cover all the little bits and bobs of information that have come out about it now. But it is Mark Kleiman from Sky who says that exclusive Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the Ineos Petrochemicals billionaire, is contemplating buying a minority stake in Manchester United Football Club rather than seeking full control at Old Trafford in an effort to conclude the 10 months long process to determine its future ownership. What a fucking weasel! Do us a favour, everyone. Smash the like button if you're just joining us. We've got 259 legends in here. Let's see if we can get 250 likes on this stream. Hit the thumbs ups and get yourself subscribed to the channel, of course, if you are new. But yeah, look, obviously he's trying to worm his way in. I think that he's probably come to the realisation that he's not going to win in terms of a full purchase of the football club. Only if he can add extra value to the Glazers shithouses by buying a percentage of the football club, a smaller amount of the football club, a minority stake of the football club, which gives more value to each percent that the Glazers shithouses own. That's the only way he can actually beat Sheikh Jassim in any sort of a bid for this football club, because Sheikh Jassim is prepared to pay 5 to 5.5 billion for the overall 100% of the football club. Whereas Sir Jim just wants a piece of it now because he knows that he cannot compete with that, I think, is what it turns out. And initially, he just wanted what was understood to be about 51% for a majority controlling stake. And obviously, that wouldn't be worth as much money in terms of the overall package because he's just buying 51% of the football club. And that's to the Glazers shithouses it maybe, because I think it's known that they own around about 69% of the club, don't they? So if you consider all of that, then you know it depends on the percentages involved. But let's have a look at this. This is quite interesting. So this is also from Mark Kleiman from Sky, who reports that Ratcliffe's latest proposal is understood to envisage buying some of the shares held by stock market investors, as well as a chunk of the more powerful B shares owned by the Glazer family. It's unclear whether this latest proposal will gain momentum. In terms of gaining momentum, I don't see how it really is going to gain much momentum because the fan base would have a massive backlash if this went through. If it turned out that the Glazers had just invited a 25% sale of their shares to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and he's put in 1.5 billion, say, into the football club, and yeah, we're going to spend it on stadium and clearing some of the debts. It's like the fan backlash would be absolutely manic. It doesn't solve a thing. In fact, it just riles everyone up and pisses everybody off. I mean, smash a one in the chat, guys. If it was announced tomorrow that Sir Jim has bought 25%, 1.5 billion, and the Glazers are staying, smash a one if you would be incensed, angry, pissed off, and ready for fucking war, guys. Smash a one in the chat if that's the case, because that's how I feel. I feel like that would just completely be a slap in the face to all of the fans, and we know that they're just probably working in cahoots to try and make some grubby money, you know, rather than actually do what was right by the fans and by the club. So yeah, lots of ones coming in the live chat, exactly. So, you know, I think that the backlash would be too strong, even for the shithouse Glazers in their ivory towers abroad, for them to even think about doing something like that at this stage. I think they're looking for a full sale still, to be fair. It would be crazy to think not, really. Be crazy to think not. Let's have a little look at some sort of more info as well. So this is from Mike Keegan, who just reiterates and confirms that this is basically the case anyway. He says that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is considering lodging a new offer for a minority stake, around 25% in Manchester United. It would leave the Glazers in control. Doesn't solve a thing then. The Glazers are terrible owners. They run the club in a terrible fashion. The people that they've put in charge in the hierarchy run the club in a terrible fashion and always have done. It's always about the bottom line and making the money for them. The decisions that have been made largely from a football perspective over the last 18 years have been joke-worthy most of the time. Anyway, they've got a few things right. Throw enough shite at the wall, some of it will stick, but most of the shite, unfortunately, falls off and ends up in a big fucking heap on the floor. So, you know, it doesn't solve a thing if the Glazers stay in Manchester United in control, does it? Rune W3, thank you very much for the super chat here, my friend. Thank you very much, buddy, for getting in with a super chat. He says, hey, Pig, just bought a 2019 Jesse Lingard Man United shirt from eBay. £12, what a bargain. Also hope you're all right, mate. Wow, a 2019 shirt with Jesse Lingard on the back. 12 quid, you say? You've been done, mate. You have been done, lad. That's a £2 Oxfam jobby if I've ever seen. But no, I'm just kidding, Rune. That's actually a pretty decent purchase, isn't it, lad? At least you're buying it on the second-hand market, not giving any more money to the shithouse Glazers, lad. Respect. That'll be an heirloom in the future, lad. Jesse Lingard 2019, let's go. You've been stitched up for 12 quid, lad. Oh, thank you, Rune. Thank you, Rune, for the super chat. I appreciate you, bud. Get some love in there for him. Jarvis, cocky legend. Precisely, he says if he gets 25%, it basically means the Glazers will stay forever. Yeah, so they get their money, they get some money, they get a nice payday. They still have a large amount of the football club, you know, that they own, somewhere in the region of about 44% or something like that they would still own. They would have, well, actually, maybe more than that, obviously, 51% of it, because it looks like he would be buying shares from the A and B shares from different shareholders and things. So they would retain majority over 50% of the football club, I should say. So that's what would be the case, and they would still have majority control of the football club. And yes, we get some money to spend, and would it even be used properly, though? Would it be used to actually pay off debts? Would it be used to build stadium? Would it be used to buy the right sort of players? I've got no confidence in those shithouse Glazers that they would be prepared to do so. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the bloody roof is leaking at Old Trafford. And is there any realistic possibility that they're going to do the right thing there? I mean, look at this. So this is a report earlier on today as well in regards to the leaky roof. You probably saw the videos of the roof leaking, people getting absolutely pissed on the other day. And so this is a report here that says that MUFC sources have said that any roof leaks at Old Trafford are fixed immediately after being identified. Right, so what have they done there? They sent up Slabby Maguire on a fucking zip line or something up the top of the fucking roof there, and he's got a little bit of fucking poly filler out, and he's bloody papered over the fucking cracks, mate. That's what's happening. Oh yeah, the roof's been fixed. Well, they haven't probably even replaced panels. They've probably just gone out with a bit of fucking super glue, mate. You know what I'm saying? Proper bodge job. You know it. You know they've got a bloody janitor on the case who's gone up there, probably not wearing the correct bloody safety shoes or anything, even knowing this fucking football club. He's doing it in a pair of fucking Reebok Classics now in this fucking football club, mate, with their shrimping and saving. And he's just polyfilling over the fucking holes, mate. You know what I mean? So, do we have any faith that the Glazers would actually spend 1.5 billion put into the football club from Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Yes or no, guys? Do you have any faith that the Glazers would spend 1.5 billion that's invested in the football club? Well, I mean, based on the amount of time that they've been at the football club, and based on the amount of money that they've got us in debt, and based on what they've done, and based on the fact that our facilities are stuck in the 1990s, and our stadium is as well, and the signings that they've made, and the people they've put in charge, upstairs in the hierarchy, and the decisions that they made everywhere, I would say a big fat no. We don't trust them with how they're going to run and manage this club, do we? So it's obviously not a good enough answer for Sir Jim to invest a fair bit of cash in the football club and for them to get some money. In fact, it just causes more problems, I think, because it means, like Jarvis said, that they're probably going to stay. They're probably going to stay, and it'll be very difficult to get rid of the Glazers ever if that's the case. So, you know, unfortunately, it does look like that is being talked about right now. Ratcliffe is very flexible with how he wants to try and get his foot in the door at United. This is via Ben Jacobs, who says that Ratcliffe has always been flexible. Since process began, he has offered multiple structures, including allowing some Glazers to stay, but it's always been made clear that his end goal, ideally straight away, but open to other options if it means winning, is control and a majority stake. So, yeah, okay, that's what he wants eventually, doesn't it? He wants overall majority control of the football club. And maybe he'll be prepared to invest some into the football club with the idea that it will be a phased takeover, essentially, that the Glazers in a few years' time might sell a little bit more of the football club, then a little bit more, and he might be able to buy out the shithouse Glazers piece by piece until he owns enough of the football club that he's got the sort of majority control. That's what he wants, but that's not what we want, because he is doing it, he would be doing it, I should say, in a scrimping way. He's a scrimper, this man. He's a hashtag scrimper, this man. Whereas we want a sugar daddy. We want somebody who's going to take care of Manchester United. Somebody that's going to come in and invest in all areas. Clear the debt off. Oh, what's that? You're $1 billion in debt. Bang. Gone. Billion gone. Billion into the club. Pay off the fucking banks. We are no longer in debt. Get in there, my son. That will save us about, 40 million a year in terms of interest payments. Get in there, my son. Done. And then we want somebody to say, here's another 1.5 billion for stadium that can revamps, upgrades, etc. Nice one here. We might not be able to rebuild a new stadium or whatever, but hey, here's 1.5 billion to tart it up and make it absolutely state of the art and keep our tradition alive of this great stadium, but to bring it into the modern era, rebuild several stands, sort everything out in terms of the facilities and all that kind of stuff. That is the sort of investment that's required at Manchester United. You need somebody that's not just going to buy the club off the Glazers and pay 5-6 billion. You also need somebody that's going to pay off the debts. You need somebody that is going to invest in every area of the club. So immediately you need somebody that's prepared to spend at least 2 billion, maybe even 2.5 billion pounds. That's after they've bought the club. Now, is Sir Jim Ratcliffe going to do that? Absolutely bloody not, guys. Absolutely not. I mean, in comparison to Sheikh Jassim and the billions that they've got, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a bloody vagabond. He's a bloody tramp, and he looks like one too. I mean, what you don't know about this thumbnail picture that we've got on this video today, you can see Sir Jim, but below it, he's actually holding a bottle of fucking Frosty Jack in a brown paper bag. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this guy, he looks like he's a bit of a stateless man. And I personally think that's how he run the football club, like a bloody tramp. If he bought Manchester United, he wouldn't have loads of money in order to increase all the facilities into the standards and everything. He's not going to do that. He'd just run us like a bloody tramp, unfortunately. Big issue, exactly, Patton. And I am not making any light of any homeless people, I'm not making fun of any homeless people, but I'm just saying, if he was down your local fucking corner shop, if he was stood outside Londis with a fucking packet of fucking you know, Amber Leaf in one hand and Frosty Jack in the other, asking you if you want to buy a copy of Big Issue. He wouldn't seem out of place, would he? He wouldn't seem out of place, would he? No, he wouldn't. Is that who we want owning Manchester United, guys? No, it's not. So, you know, unfortunately, that's the options that we've got. We've either got Scrimpy Tramp, Mr. Sir Jim, or we've got super rich sugar daddy Sheikh Jassim, and we all know which one we want. Well, I do anyway. Who do you want, guys? Sheikh Jassim or Sir Jim Ratcliffe? It's almost a completely rhetorical question because I know what the live chat's going to say. Because no bastard wants Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because he's just going to be a Glazer 2.0, maybe even worse. Maybe even bloody worse. And especially if it means that he only wants 25% of the football club and he's just taken a minority stake in the football club. And that means that the Glazer shithouses retain control of the football club. Yet they generate more cash for their grubby little mitts themselves. Helps nobody, does it? It's just as bad as what we've currently got, if not worse, because it's lining the Glazer shithouses' pockets. You know that 1.5 billion, for instance, if that's what it is that's put into the club and invested, won't be invested properly. You know that a large percentage of that would be siphoned out of the football club, spent wrongly, and probably wouldn't even end up in us having the stadium and facilities that we want. It would probably just, I don't know, be spent on a couple of tins of paint and maybe clear off a bit of the debts, or they just put it to a side and say, oh, we'll just service the debt for another 10 years with that money. Absolute disgusting. Hey, thank you very much, Mark Harris's Sir Jim bid distraction from Crap House, Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag out, says Mark Harris. Mark Harris, the City fan, everybody. Let's get a round of applause for Mark Harris coming in here with pure delusion and absolute fucking bullshit shite. Get in there, my son. Eric Ten Hag out already. Blame it all on Eric Ten Hag. Fickle is the word. Hashtag fickle, Mr. Mark Harris. Sorry to say, love you, brother, but you are talking absolute shite, lad. Listen, getting Ten Hag out right now does nothing, bud. It just gets us into a repeated cycle of blaming and scapegoating a manager who last season did a fucking good job for us, and all of a sudden is what? All of a sudden is public enemy number one to a few fickle melts? Don't be silly, lad. It's the owners of this football club that are the biggest problem. Once those wank bags are out of the football club, then surely, you know, you could see that Ten Hag probably, if he's invested in properly, if the squad's not actually fucking injured all the time, if he's getting the right players that he needs, if we're having the ambition, if we're not scrimping out, if we're not fucking playing the percentages and just going to get as many different average sort of players as we can and actually go and invest, maybe he could do the job that's required of him at Manchester United, which is the challenge. The rot has been setting in at Manchester United for over a decade, my friend. For a decade at least. And it's not something that Ten Hag can come in and just change instantly overnight standards wise, and he certainly can't change the standards that are, you know, slipped immediately. So I think, you know, it's a very silly attitude to be Ten Hag out at the moment. Anybody that's Ten Hag out, you're a fickle melt, to be honest with you, because it, you know, it's just going to repeat the cycle. Goodness me, how many great managers have Manchester United had on paper since Sir Alex left? I mean, they're all good managers, maybe not David Moyes, but they're all good managers, aren't they? But they all failed. They all were sacked off in the end. They all were scapegoated, weren't they? Angie did at Spurs. You what? Ever heard of a manager bounce, lad? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in as an interim manager and won 10 games in a row. Did brilliantly. The first 2 seasons he was here didn't work. Jose Mourinho won us the fucking treble in the first year. Didn't work out for him. It's called a manager bounce, mate. You think Ange Postecoglou's actually going to see this out and build a dynasty at Spurs for years and years and years? You what? It's not going to happen, mate. It's a fucking manager bounce, mate. He's doing all right at this moment in time. Same thing happened with Ten Hag last year in terms of increasing us in the short term. It's not about the short-term picture. It's about the long-term picture. Remember when Sir Alex Ferguson came in the late 80s, guys? How long it took to actually establish that ethos mentality and to get that well-oiled machine in place? It took a fucking long time. This isn't something that can happen overnight. The regime at the top of Manchester United is a big fundamental problem. If you sack Ten Hag, all you do is put somebody else in, we're back to square one, and we've still got the same shithouse owners at the football club. Can't people see this? I mean, guys, look, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, right? Even City wankers. But are you Ten Hag in or Ten Hag out? For me, I'm 100% Ten Hag in. It's not even a conversation. We'll win the next couple of games in a row. Things will be looking a little bit better. The confidence will come back. And, and the emphasis rightfully will hopefully go back onto the shithouse owners of this football club, who are the real big problem at this club. Not just, not just the manager. It's not the manager's fault. I mean, he's had a lot of things to contend with off the pitch as well this season so far, would have been a problem. I mean, you look at some of the players out there, some of the bollockless players. I mean, crikey, you think Ten Hag selecting Rashford? Rashford's playing like the way he is. Goodness me, I mean, surely he's expecting a lot more from Rashford, who bagged 30 goals last season. Rashford's playing like Sheikh. Bruno Fernandes, invisible in certain games, great in others. Very inconsistent. The inconsistencies are there. He can't stop these players from scoring their goals, can he? He's trying to get them to play a certain way, and they're clearly not doing that, and they're not taking their chances. So he can't put the ball in the back of the net for them. Jay Frieda says in, Claire says out, in, says Red Olsen, in, Ten Hag in. Yeah, okay, so Angie the Flangy says Rushmano gets in there. Well said to Duke of Rodtown. Fools want instant success. I know, people just don't realise it takes time to build a successful team and to set a certain standard at United and to change the way a football team sort of is on course and the style of things as well. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I believe Ten Hag is a good manager. I believe he is a good stylistic manager. I like his approach. I like his disciplinarian, authoritarian sort of way he goes about things. And I just think we need to support him at this moment in time. We're 7 games into the season. Yes, I think that in terms of the Premier League campaign, it's unlikely that we're going to have any sort of a real good season. But there's still other competitions. There's still things to achieve. There's still top 4, which we need to get. We still can get. I think we still can just about get it. It's only 7 games in, we're only, 9 points off the sort of the top. It's not panic stations just yet. We've had a monstrous start. It's about how we regroup, how we revamp, and I think we will do it. I personally think we will do it. So, look, only time will tell. It could be a repeating cycle of what we've seen since Sir Alex left, which is a manager comes in for a couple of years. As soon as he goes off the boil, everybody just jumps on him. The owners want the guy probably scapegoated because it takes the emphasis off of them, which is the true problem. They sack him and it's rinse and repeat for those guys, and then we're back to square one, back in the cycle. It's cheap for them to pay off a manager. People say, oh, they don't want to pay Ten Hag off 20 million quid. Okay, they don't. But also it's cheap for them when you compare that to, actually doing the right things, like spending a load of money on the right sort of players, Harry Kane or Declan Rice and people like this that other clubs have gone to spend 100 million plus on because they're the best and we are going to get lesser players. It's cheaper than that, isn't it? It's cheaper just to scapegoat a manager, sack him off and get somebody else in. And it's all about who's available as well. Like, yeah, okay, if Ancelotti was available, yeah, nice, maybe that would be a great manager to choose because he's got big bollocks and this is a big club and, he's got the experience running big clubs. But as we've mentioned previously, it's like the right candidate's not even necessarily out there. Well, who are you going to go and get? Mr. Good Evening, he is a good coach, to be fair, he is a good coach, but he's it's a different animal at Manchester United. He couldn't do it at Arsenal, Hollands. What about, De Zerbi? He's a fucking Brighton manager in a good situation. It's easy to manage Brighton when they're a well-run club with a good foundation from the previous regime. There's who are you going to go and get? Zidane? Zidane doesn't want to come to United and he doesn't even speak English and he's a fucking prick. There you go. So, I just don't understand people getting on Erik Ten Hag already. I feel sad, in fact, that people are getting on Ten Hag already. Fair enough if we're mid-table by Christmas. Fair enough. But right now, it's just a knee-jerk, fickle reaction. The Vutinator, thank you very much for getting in here and getting in with 124 likes. He says we've got 124 likes. Keep hitting the thumbs ups, everybody. Smash that like button on it if you haven't done so. You'd give Martin O'Neill the job. Nice one, X-Core. Then we'd be fucking relegated, my son. Listen, Martin O'Neill's a good coach, mate. He's a good coach, mate. Yeah, nice one. If what you want to do is get fucking Aston Villa to fucking 6th every single year, nice one. That's not what we want. We need people to take us forward to the next fucking level, mate, and to get us built up to be a top side again. The Vutinator says we've got 124 likes, by the way. Hit the thumbs up button, everybody. Take a second to drop a like. It's free. It will help the show out. Hit the likes. Hit the subscribe. Get your thoughts and opinions in there. Nice one. Look, with Erik Ten Hag. With Erik Ten Hag, it's easy to see how he's made some mistakes lately. He has made some mistakes lately. He's only human, and we've seen plenty of managers make plenty of mistakes. Yes, it is the worst start to a Premier League campaign for 34 years. Can't get away from that. We saw him make many good decisions last season and perform very, very well as a manager, though. He's been up against it with injuries, off the field issues and all sorts. But actually, you know, he's got to take some of the blame. Of course he does. It's not like I'm just saying, oh, he's been doing everything absolutely spot on, brilliant. Because he hasn't. He has made some errors in regards to selection, but I think he's got some reasons for that. You know, maybe selecting Rashford ahead of Garnacho is one of those ones that doesn't quite add up at the minute based on form. But he's looking at Rashford going, this is a 25-year-old lad in his prime who we are paying 350k a week to. And last season he bagged me 30 goals. I can trust this guy. And he's putting him in there, and the guy's not performing for him, right? He's trying to keep the faith. He doesn't want to just discard this player. So it's easy to say, oh, he should be playing that guy, he should be playing this guy. He knows what he's doing, I believe. It's just that it takes a little bit of time before you learn from mistakes, or it takes a bit of time maybe for players to play themselves into a good bit of form again. I still think Rashford's going to turn out good under Erik ten Hag. People would just chuck him away and sell him tomorrow, wouldn't they? And those people would be losing out on potentially a great player who's born and bred and can do good things for us in the future. And the same goes for a lot of positions in the side. So, look, it's not as easy as all that, guys, you know. It's funny, isn't it? We all sit here in our fucking armchairs or whatever, talking about it. And I know, I give you my opinions on it, and you're all entitled to your opinion too. But does any of us really think that we could do a better job than Erik ten Hag at Manchester United? I mean, the answer to that is probably a massive no. I mean, you never know. Maybe there's some absolute fucking football manager genius out there that could just go and turn it around. But most of the chances are is that, you know, let's face it, Ten Hag knows what he's doing. And he was good for us last season and managed to get us third and a trophy and FA Cup final, even though his squad is shite. Oh, but 7 games into the season, we lost 4 games, let's sack him. Crazy mentality, guys. Crazy mentality. Anyway, enough of that. It's triggered me. Enough of that shite. Enough of that nonsense. Let's move on. So, okay, so Ratcliffe's flexible. Ratcliffe's flexible with how he wants to buy the football club. It seems like he's exploring sort of many different ways of potentially buying this club, and the guy's a dirtbag in regards to doing so. This is what Alex Crook says. It says, as previously reported, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has explored a variety of options to get his hands on Man United shares with a view to eventually having a controlling stake. No indication yet if the current owners are open to his latest proposal. Will go down very badly with the majority of United fans. That it will. Thank you very much, Jarvis Cocker, for your super chat, mate. Get in there, lad. Thank you for the 50 knock, lad. He says, I'm not worried about these rumours. Ineos is just a tool to boost the bid. Sheikh Jassim will secure the takeover. Don't worry and trust Uncle Jarvis. Get in there, Uncle Jarvis. Thank you very much, Uncle Jarvis, lad. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I do agree largely with you as well, bud. Like, obviously, this is... I think it's potentially a last gasp attempt by Sir Jim Ratcliffe to gain some sort of a foothold at Manchester United. If these reports are even true, let's be fair. Let's be fair, because it's Sky and Daily Mail and these outlets are reporting it at this moment in time. So even if it is true, you know, then we have to say that there's still a good chance that they sell the entirety of the football club to Sheikh Jassim. And it is known, obviously, that Sheikh Jassim wants to buy the football club. So check this out. You know, obviously, it does seem that Sheikh Jassim's team remain committed to 100% buyout of Manchester United. We know that the fan base require what is known as a full sale only. That's what we want. If we get anything less than that, we're all going to be pretty annoyed. So surely it works for the Glazers. Surely it works for the next regime. Works for everybody involved. If it's a full sale of the football club and not somebody buying a piece of the football club. And I agree with you. I think there's a big element here, Jarvis, of you know, just media chatter, and also, you know, just to try and, like we say, if it is true, get a last gasp try of getting something of the football club from Sir Jim. Oh, we can't afford to compete with a full sale, a full purchase of the football club with Sheikh Jassim, so he's prepared to offer a little bit more per percentage to buy a lesser piece of the football club with the idea that in the future he can maybe take full control. If that is the case, then it's not the most attractive of propositions, I don't think, for the new owners. So as we talked about, you know, from what we said a minute ago, you know, it's unclear whether or not the Glazers would be even considering selling a piece of the football club. Maybe they do want out. We think that some of the Glazers want to sell up. We think that maybe some of the Glazers want to stay. But they all stand to make more money and could just wash their hands with United and run off into the sunset if they have a full sale of the club. That's what we know. And they would actually be doing the best duty of care to the fan base as well by selling it to, say, Sheikh Jassim as well. Now, I don't think they care about that, to be honest. I don't think they really do genuinely give a shit about sort of safeguarding Manchester United or giving us to the right sort of owners that the fans want. They just care about what's the most financially good decision for them. But there's a lot of factors here. Sheikh Jassim's offer makes them a lot of money. They can run off into the sunset. It does do right by the fans as well, and probably leaves Manchester United in a really good position. Whereas with Sir Jim, it's just more of the same old shit. So we've just got to hope that Sheikh Jassim is genuinely still very much interested in buying the football club for a full sale. And I do believe that this is an attempt, Glazers shithousery, PR spin, guff, to try and maybe milk out a few more extra pennies out of Sheikh Jassim. You know, they're threatening. This is why this is going on so long. They're not in any rush to sell because they're quite happy to play mind games, the waiting game, in order to essentially convince Sheikh Jassim or whoever's actually bidding in this process to try and up their bids. If they want the whole football club, if you want the whole football club, hey, look, we'll be prepared to sell a little bit to Sir Jimmy, and then your deal is completely off the table. Or you can give us an extra few hundred milli and we'll do the deal with you. That's essentially what I believe is going on as well, Jarvis Dad, which I was going to get onto. You're absolutely right. I completely agree. Sheikh Jassim still committed to this football club purchase, hopefully, and that's what we want. Great comment there, Jarvis. Thank you so much for getting in with a super chat, lad. Come on, let's be having you. So I'm going to get into the live chat for a few minutes and discuss this Sheikh Jassim, Sir Jim, Glazers out, takeover bullshit with you lads and lasses now for a few minutes. Then I'll move on to some other sort of topics that we've got to discuss as well for Manchester United news, and then we'll get into the Q&A as well. But as always, keep liking the video, guys. Keep subscribing. We're creeping up in the old subscribers there, so hit the subscribe button. That would be fantastic. We're doomed, says the Cake Cadet. Tommy says, we need to be careful what we wish for. Ahmad bin Jassim is only worth 1.2 billion. My worry is who are the other Saudi investors involved in the takeover. Maybe medium long-term Jim is the way to go. I don't know really where you've got that from, Tommy Bull, lad. I think personally that is incorrect information, lad. I mean, the Jassim family, from what I understand, is worth billions and billions and billions and billions. So I'm not too sure. I mean, maybe technically, you know, the son, Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmad Al Thani, this particular guy, you know, obviously it's the Qatari family. The Qatari family that he's from is super rich, mate. They're worth hundreds and hundreds of billions. So, okay, maybe through the books or whatever, he might be worth X amount. But the family that he belongs to, essentially the Qatari state, is worth fucking absolute hundreds and hundreds of billions. So that's the difference here. I mean, you know, in terms of net worth, there is no comparison. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a multi-billionaire, right? He's a multi-billionaire. His Ineos company, I think, is worth somewhere in the region of about 15 billion or somewhere like that. But compared to Sheikh Jassim, he's a tramp. You know what I mean? Compared to Sheikh Jassim, he's a tramp. Yeah, and it's Qataris, not Saudis. But either way, we know what he meant. But the point is, he's backed. His family is fucking super duper rich, my son. Hundreds of billions of worth. The Cake Cadet says, my only comfort is I'm looking forward to smashing teams in the Championship next season, says Cake Cadet. Goodness me, imagine that if we got rallied. Well, hopefully that would convince those wank bags to sell if it did happen. I'd take it. I would take it. Smash a one if you'd take it. A year in the Championship, filling out the stadium in the fucking Championship, banging everyone 4-0, 5-0, and the Glazers shithouses sold. I would take it. Smash a one if you'd take it as well. Because you know we'd come straight back up. You know it would be better for the long-term future of the football club if it meant the Glazers pissed off. Now, we're not going to get relegated. It's absolutely stupid to discuss, but I would take it. I'm sure a lot of you would take it as well. Just for 1 year. We've had enough bad years out of sorts at this football club over the last decade. So it makes no difference for us to have one more bad season if it means that the Glazers sell up. But that wouldn't happen. Anyway, it's not going to happen. 100% says Rushmano. Yeah, at least we win a few more games, says TT Superfly guy. Dennis Law to send us down. Oh, not again. History repeating itself, lad. You take it too. It'll be our 50th anniversary of our last relegation too, says Jay Fader. That would be scumtastic, wouldn't it? Gaming Sim says, if it guaranteed Qatar would actually be challenging quicker if we were in the conference. Well, I think if something like that happened, it would, well, not guarantee, but it would definitely increase the possibility of a full sale. Of course it would. Because if Manchester United's profitability takes a massive knock, that means that the overall value of the football club would absolutely plummet as well. Let's face it, if we're not getting that Premier League money to the same degree if we're playing in the Championship, and we're not getting Champions League money, European money, and the merchandise sales, everything's down because we're in the Championship, everything, then it's going to have a massive knock-on effect with the not just the profitability of the football club, but also the value of the football club. So a 5 billion offer on the table becomes even more attractive to the shithouse Glazers if there's an instant billion of the value of Manchester United wiped out overnight, which was what would happen if we got relegated. So, you know, I have to say, you know, that that would probably be best. So it's the family buying the club, not just the man himself. Is that correct? Well, allegedly, Tommy Boyle. I mean, allegedly, mate. So, you know, essentially there's you know, it's a bit of a grey area. It's a bit of a grey area because, you know, other family members within that family own other interests in other football clubs and things like that. So it's a little, listen, it's really not that, it's really not that cut and dry, but all we need to know is it's a better option than the current shithouse owners, and it doesn't matter if he's got 1.2 billion on the face of it in paper, if that's what you're looking at. His family and what he represents is hundreds and hundreds of billions of wealth. So I'm pretty sure this guy would, you know, would be prepared to pay a shitload of cash, you know, into the football club in the future. It's actually not 450 million. It's way more. Remember, they spent 230 billion on the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, essentially, it would be. I mean, I don't want to talk out of turn here, but essentially, it's like almost like the Qatari state would be essentially funding Manchester United through the guise of Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmad Al Thani. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to speak out of turn and say something that's not 100% accurate or whatever, but that's the sort of impression that I get. You know, I am doing FIFA Tonight Fitch, yes, mate. Would McTominay hack it in the Championship? That's the question. Probably not. He'd still be absolutely gash-tastic, I think. The risk is we get sanctioned because it's found out we own by the same lads as PSG. That's what I'm saying, Bell691. Yeah. So there's like this QSI, Qatari Sports Investment Group, and then there's this other Qatari investment group, and they've got slightly different names, and they all sort of, you know, filter back to the Qatari state. It's really, really quite confusing. It is really, really quite confusing, to be honest, but it's not. It sounds a bit dodgy, and it probably is. But there you go. It's still better than the shithouse Glazers. Right, anyway. Okay, thank you everyone for getting in. If Qatar would own United, the Sheikh would be the poster boy. That's basically how I view it as well, LP, yeah. That's basically how I view it as well. Pretty much more or less what you've just said. We got a little bit more information coming in. Thank you, Rushmano, for giving us the updates throughout the show. Sheikh Jassim will not budge on the structure of his United bid. It remains all or nothing at around £5 billion. This is via Ben Jacobs, who says that Sheikh Jassim wants to buy the club, but he's not budging at £5 billion. He says those close to the 9-2 Foundation have always stressed that they won't entertain a minority stake or any scenario in which the Glazers stay. Get in there, Sheikh Jassim and co. 9-2 Foundation all the way, guys. That is what we are looking for, rather than shithouse Glazer shithouses trying to generate cash by selling a piece of the football club, and Sir Jim coming in and being a 2.0 melt. So the 9-2 Foundation sources reiterate anything Sir Jim Ratcliffe does won't influence them. As one insider puts it, the two bids are like apples and pears. So that's it. They're probably viewing this as just pure PR spin. They've put their best offer on the table. They know Man United's true value is probably about £4.5 billion at the moment, and they're prepared to pay the top end of that. But to suggest that we're worth any more than that is actually pretty crazy because of us being $1 billion in debt, our issues on and off the pitch, and also the fact that so much money needs spending on infrastructure at United as soon as you come in here. It's like, yeah, okay, it's a fixer-upper. This might be like a really nice country mansion, but you open the door, there's fucking woodworm in the door, the fucking floor's caved in, none of the plumbing works, the heating don't work, you turn the fucking tap on in the kitchen, it's got fucking brown, dirty water spewing out, mate, with no fucking pressure. It's a complete fixer-upper. It might be a nice gaff, but it needs a lot of work. That's basically what the situation is with Manchester United. So they can't expect to get 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 billion pounds from Man United because of how much needs spending on it as soon as it is bought. So I think 5 billion is approximately around about what this club should be going for anyway. So they've put a good offer on the table. I think this is just pure PR spin guff. Glazers shithouses trying to get as much as they can, and Sir Jim getting desperate, trying to get in there any which way that he can. But he's obviously flexibly and trying to sort of offering money. Ben Jacobs says it could even be a bit more money that he's offering in terms of the 25% of the club that he would like to buy as a minority stake. So Ben Jacobs says that Ratcliffe's more flexible and mulling over offering up to $2.5 billion for a 25% minority stake shows this that he's very flexible. So what does that tell you really? It says that he's desperate. Anyway, it is what it is, guys. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Hopefully, like Jarvis was saying, and that I completely agree with, this is just Glazer desperation to get more cash, and it's also Sir Jim Ratcliffe desperation as well. Exactly, Rushmano. Desperate Jim. Desperate Jim. Never mind Desperate Dan with his fucking monster chin. It's Desperate Jim with his fucking tramp's beard, guys. Yeah. Flip says, more important pick, the Sheikh offers the prospect a consistent winning strategy. One thing we know that if the Glazers stay, the club will continue to drift. Spot on. He promises 100% ownership, promises getting rid of debts, promises, improving facilities, stadiums, giving us exactly what we want as fans. So you're absolutely right. Montreal says, a revamped Old Trafford should have a retractable and thicker roof. I don't want rain to ever impede our home matches ever again. Shocking, isn't it, mate? They just sent Stanley, the bloody handyman, up there with a bit of fucking, bloody tar to just tar over the top of the roof the other day, mate. Should be sold for 4.5 billion. Yeah, I agree. 4.5 to 5.5. Certainly around about 4.5 value it makes a bit of sense for what this is currently, all the problems that we've currently got. So Jim Ratcliffe bid 5 million, then Sheikh Jassim Tony will go 5.8 billion. I don't know, Lucky Sig. I'm not so sure about that, but I think that they've got their price. And there's no way Sir Jim's going to bid 5 billion anyway, because he only wants a majority ownership, which means that he essentially wants 51% of the shares so that he can control the football club, and that isn't going to amount to that much money. It's obviously going to be half of the value that you're looking at. So at best, 2.5 billion, 3 billion, I guess, if he really wants to overpay. Saw the footage of the toilets, piss all over the floor. Shocking, says Malps. It's just a disgrace, mate. It's just everything's lacking in all areas. Will Peak Villa Park has got a late night when I was there the other night for the women's game. Bloody late. Maybe the Glazers are the secret owners of Aston Villa. Laughing out loud. Get in there, Vincent B. Nice one, love it. Unbelief Jim gets some. Ron Seal says, yeah, that's right. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Free food and intravenous beer. Do you remember the letter Joel wrote to the fans years ago? I mean, I remember the one that he wrote a year ago where he's like promising to be more transparent and get involved with the fan groups and, and all that sort of lies, all those sort of lies. So if he's offering 2.5, 25%, then no wonder they want 10 billion for the lot. It's ridiculous. Well, we're talking dollars there, dollars. So it's not quite, it's not. You're talking that valuation's around about £6 billion or something, But yeah, dollars or whatever it is. Actually, it's not. It's actually a lot more than that now, isn't it? Because the pound is gash. But you know what I mean. Dollars though, $2.5 billion. Okay, anyway, right guys, so let me just cover the couple of other things I want to discuss very quickly, then we'll get into the live chat for a few minutes. Thanks everyone for getting in here. Let's be having you. But before I get into the chat, I just want to discuss a couple of little bits and bobs about some of our players and some of the other news that's going on. I'm going to do a proper preview of the Galatasaray game tomorrow afternoon, so keep a lookout for that then. That's when we're going to, there's obviously this breaking news tonight, so that's what I was discussing, but we are obviously going to go on and talk about things like the team selection, predictions, all that stuff tomorrow in the afternoon ahead of the game, and we'll be doing a watch along in the evening as well. But just very quickly, a couple of things. So Anthony Dos Santos is back in training, obviously, and Ten Hag has basically said that he could be in contention to play tomorrow. So Anthony will be considered to play tomorrow. Yesterday was the first time he participated in team training. It's good news to have Anthony back, he says. Get in there, my son. Let's get some Brazilian flags in there. Let's hope that he comes back with a bang and is... Probably should have used a better phrase of words there, guys. You know what I mean? Probably should have used a better phrase of words. But you know what I mean. Let's hope he comes back with a positive game and does well if he is playing. That would be very, very nice if he does. And, some people will be a little bit annoyed about this matter, but we do think that because of what's happened, i.e. him speaking to the police and Manchester United, essentially, allowing him back, that it's probably a case of, oh, everybody's got all the necessary information that they've got to decide that this guy is essentially not going to face any charges. There's no issues there. And Ten Hag basically said as much. He said that he cooperated and was not charged. So that's what he said in regards to why he's bringing Anthony back into the squad after these domestic abuse claims. He's quoted as saying he cooperated and was not charged. So that's all we've got to go on, really. I really hope that it's the last we hear of it, and Anthony can just get on and be a good footballer for Manchester United, hopefully. I mean, he's had some off-the-field issues going on, which have probably distracted him and stopped him fulfilling his best potential. Oh, thank you, Rush Money. Yes, please, mate. That'd be amazing, mate. Love a cheeky bit of footage from the stadium beforehand, lad. Absolutely, yes. Good man, good man. So, there you go. Anthony in there. That's good news, guys. Hopefully he comes back and performs. Rashford, he's talked about Rashford a little bit here. Well, Rashford has been Gashford, hasn't he? Ten Hag says on Rashford form, he says if he works hard and invests every day with the right focus, and if the team around him supplies and helps him with movement, then it will come. And Rashford's a player who's capable of scoring a goal in every game. When he's coming in the right spots, he will score. Okay, so it does seem like Ten Hag is putting this emphasis on Rashford to be a goal scorer, which maybe is why you're seeing Rashford look quite selfish out there. But I personally think that Rashford needs to get both facets of his game up to scratch. He needs to be able to score, but he also needs to be able to create, and he's looked very, very selfish lately. So I think there's maybe a little bit too much emphasis on Rashford scoring goals. I want to see Rashford actually creating. Now, it's not his strong point. His strong point is being direct and getting shots off on goal and all that sort of stuff, but he needs to actually, at this stage, be able to decide and make a better decision in a moment as to what is the best thing to do for the team. Maybe play a sitter of a pass to someone who's in a better position to have a free shot, or shoot at 4 players who are closing you down. This is the sort of decisions that Rashford hasn't been making well recently, and I want to see better from him. So listen, Ten Hag clearly keeping the faith in him at this moment in time. Let's just hope that Rashford comes good. We could easily have written Rashford off the season before last, and he ended up being our player of the year last year. I know he can come back and do great things for this football club. He's just having a bad spell, just like we all are as a team, really, and just like the manager is in terms of his overall results and performance as a coach. This has not been a good start for anybody this campaign in particular, really. So I'm sure that he can come back and do well. Come on, let's get a hashtag Rashford in. Obviously I want to see Garnacho start ahead of him right now, because I feel like he should be dropped based on form. But overall, I don't think we should just chuck Rashford away onto the scrap heap, especially considering we just given him a new contract. Also, Ten Hag confirming that Lisandro Martinez is to undergo surgery. We knew this anyway. We've been talking about it. Terrible decisions by United to allow him to play injured at the start of this season anyway. But there you go. Ten Hag just confirming. He says, I can confirm Lisandro Martinez will undergo surgery and won't be available for some time. Shit show. Okay, I'm just going to get into a cheeky little rundown of what we've discussed here. And then we will get into the live chat for another bit of a Q&A before we wrap it up and go and play FIFA. So Sir Jim looks like he's going to offer, or has offered potentially, a different option for the Glazers, which is 25% purchase of the football club, a minority stake, in order to get his foot in the door, but will not have the controlling stake. Obviously, that would stay with the Glazers. If he's offering per percentage more value to the Glazers, maybe it's something that they would consider. It's not known whether they would consider that right now. Probably all just a ploy to get more money out of a potential Sheikh Jassim bid for a full sale of the football club. But one thing's for sure, the Glazers aren't going anywhere in the short term, and they're prepared to wait it out and try and get as much as they can. Hashtag Glazers out. Let's get a cheeky hashtag Glazers out in the chat. Right, I'm going to get into the live chat. Before I do, I'm going to shout out everyone who's reposted the show. Big ups yourselves. Let's check this out. Everyone, thank you for reposting us. We have got 18 reposts on Twitter. Guy Am Legend, thank you so much for reposting the show there, my lad. Aaron Homeyard, Sanjay Ramatar, Boomy, Stephen Braun, Tommy Boyle, Uncaged Squid, United Mark, Kieran, Larry Hasser, CK91, Transfers _UTD, Cyantam Red Devil, Feline Fur, Vincent Bullock, John Boy Cat, Luan France, and Phil Mabbott. Phil Mabbott, thank you everyone for getting in here as well, for retweeting the show, reposting the show. That really does help us out. Right, guys, we're nearly at 200 likes. Keep smashing the likes. Help us get to 200 thumbs ups. You know it makes sense. Drop a like on it and help us compete with clickbait wankers and corporations. Going to get into the chat now, folks. Thanks for everyone for being here. Let's hear what you've got to say on anything we've discussed. You hope it's Varane and Lindelof tomorrow, says Batman Night Fan. Well, anything better than a human slab. Marcus hasn't evolved like we hoped since his debut, says LP. No, this is absolutely right. You're right. He has devolved this season and unfortunately is a bit of a melter now. But he can get back into form. We know what he's capable of doing. And I know we can see a lot more from Rashford. It's a confidence thing. It's a form thing. He's got to play himself into form. And hopefully Ten Hag does maybe give him a kick up the arse by dropping him one game, giving him a reality check. You know, he needs that. He shouldn't just be getting selected in this team because of how much you're paid or who you are or what name you are. You need to be getting selected in this team based on what you provide for this team. And right now he's providing less than I think what Garnacho could provide for this team. Niall says 3-0 Man United, Piggy. Go on then, let's get your predictions in. I will be doing a proper preview tomorrow, but let's get your predictions into the live chat for tomorrow's game. I'm saying we get a reaction and we do well, and it's going to be a tough game. I'm going 2-1 to United, though. 2-1 to United. Tommy Boyle's surgery happened today, dude. And apparently we're after Antonio Silva. Yes, I've heard that link as well, Antonio Silva, but he's mates with Ronnie. Wonder what Ronnie's thoughts are about him coming to us. Can't see it happening. Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, there's a few... Obviously, centre-backs that we're looking at, I think Todibo may still well be another one. We heard that from Fab recently as well. But I think it's dependent on a lot of things, isn't it? So dependent on if we can move on Gash like Maguire or if we sell the club and get new owners. But certainly next summer, we're going to have a whole fresh batch of money to spend. Probably spend it not the best, but we've got plenty of money, you know, coming next summer, I suppose, to spend. So that's the idea there. But for now, I don't see us buying anybody in January in that regard. Unless we can sell Slabo or somebody in January. I just don't see it happening. But yeah, we are looking at that guy reportedly. 3-0 says Niall. Game in Sim says 1-0. 1-0 to Gala, you reckon? 1-0 says Kingslayer. 2-1 says Kai and Gungshi. Get in there, great loins think alike. Jay Fader says 2-2. McKay's going 2-1 to United as well. Batman's going 3-1. Very tough game, Rashat. It is at Old Trafford, though. Not that that really means that much lately, because we've seen our fortress sort of melt a little bit. Our icy fortress, which was so strong for so long, has melted a little bit against teams like Brighton and Crystal Palace recently, etc. So, yeah, not the best. 2-0 Galatasaray. We don't score goals, says Malps. Vincent says 2-1 to United. 2-1 to Gala, says Arcadian. Fred be playing against us, says Kieran. We aren't going to win the Champions League, so what's the point, Piggy, says the Cape Cadet. Well, we won't do anything with that attitude, Cape Cadet, no. I guess the point is to try and go as far as we can. I mean, and to have a good season, give a good account of ourselves. You know, that's the main thing. In some ways, I kind of agree, though. We're probably not expected to go that far in the tournament. Maybe it'd be better off just to sack out of the group and be in the Europa League. At least we might fucking win that. But no, I don't want that, obviously. Completely missed my super chat. Oh, Disco Dave, let's go and have a look, mate. Sorry, bro, let's have a look. It happens, mate. It does happen. Let's go and see what's going on here. Disco Dave, thank you very much for getting in here with a super chat. Did you send one, mate? I can't see it. I still can't see it. I literally still can't see it, bud. Let me go and see. When was this? Like a long time ago? Hang on a second. Let me go into the actual YouTube Supers bit here. See what happens. Aha, there it is. Sorry, mate, I missed it. I had to go on the actual YouTube site. It must have been a while ago. He says, in my opinion, 3 years before we become title contenders. Thank you so much there, Disco Dave, for the €2 super chat. You absolute don, lad. Get some love in there for Disco Dave. My bad for missing it. 3 years, he thinks, before we can contend. Yeah, maybe a little bit quicker. Maybe that could be like expedited if we get new owners in like Sheikh Jassim. But certainly, yeah, I mean, for anybody, for any manager trying to rebuild, it's going to take time with this particular Manchester United side that is so shite, unfortunately. You know? Yes, Galatasaray says Game in Sim. 2-2 says Tommy Boyle. 2-1 says Nathan and King Boomy. Get in there. Mikhail says Ziyech, Icardi, and the return of Wilfried Zaha. They do have some ballers at Gala, says Mikhail Kramer. 2-1 to Gala, says Ulf. Nihar says 2-1. Ias Clan says 1-3 Gala. 2-2. Dodgy game again. Just don't see a win, sadly, says Rushmano. Oh, 6-1 on Gala to win. Fred went to Fenerbahce, says Mikhail. Yeah, he thinks all Turkish teams are the same, lad. You want about a different Fred? Cake says, I'd rather try and win the Europa League than get dumped out of the Champions League. Interesting. 2-0 to us, says Tommy Boyle. That is interesting as well, lad. Get in there. That's what I'm going for. I'm trying to stay positive on this front. Trying to stay positive, you know. Trying to be positive. Marky Harris says, let Eric Ten Hag dig his own grave, play Bruno, Rashford, Anthony, Onana, do it, stubborn Dutch bum. He's had time, he doesn't know his best team. Time for the bin. I just don't agree, Mark Harris, man. I just do not agree, lad. I mean, okay, in a year, in 6 months' time, if it's the same spluttering, stuttering mess at United, then okay. This is just, in my opinion, a speed bump in the start of the season. Remember last season, we lost the first 3, we turned it around. Have the faith, my friend, have the faith. It's easy just to chuck him away and repeat the process again and get somebody else who's probably going to struggle with this task at hand. Remember, the club's toxic. Remember, the foundations are cracked. And it's very difficult for any coach to come in and actually fix this club in the short term. We've got to start looking at the long picture here. We've got to start playing the long game and not just being so needy for an instant turnaround. I think it's going to take a bit of time, to be fair. First 7 years of Ferguson's reign was a mess. It takes years. Exactly, Anthony White. That's the sort of mentality I have now as well. But Marky Harris, thank you for getting your opinions in here. It's fair play to you, lad. Fair play to you. More news. Let's have a look at this. Rushmano. Johnny Evans says, last season I played against United for Leicester. Ten Hag gave me a little bit of a jokey comment. And he said, do you fancy coming back? So I was like, yeah, of course, no problem. Ten Hag tapping up players. Get in there, my son. And also reports that Altay Bayend will make his Champions League debut tomorrow in tomorrow's game. That's what the Standard's saying. A few different outlets report. I mean, Andre Onana has been a bit ropey, hasn't he? And Bayend has got those Turkish vibes. Maybe would be a good game to have him against it. Nice one. Get in there, Sub2 says, where you lot going to play while the stadium that gets upgraded? User work is needed. Yeah, who knows? I don't know, bloody Ewood Park or something. Who bloody knows, mate? Turf Moor? Certainly not those shithouse fucking shithouses City or anything. Definitely not the Empty-Had. Surely not. I don't know, Wembley Stadium would be good for Man United for a while. I know it's far away from Manchester and the local season ticket holders would be pissed, but it would fill out and make money for the club. Anyway. Right, I'm just going to read a couple more comments out, guys. Then we're going to get over to the gaming channel. Palace says, Jay Fader, you miss Spanish Dave. Oh, I love David De Gea, mate. I know. It's unreal, isn't it? Half his squad isn't his and they're proper bitches. They have a track record of throwing managers under the bus. Ten Hag isn't to blame. Spot on, agree with you there, old 793 lad. I do agree with you, bud. Graham Souness to Rangers. Rasha, it's not Eric's fault. He keeps rumbling around lack of investment. Eric Ten Hag does have most of the attacking players available. We still can't score, says PJ. But it's foundations, isn't it? Things that are fundamentally wrong at the club. And it's also like the back of the team is injuries galore. Players being played out of position to make up for it. Once we've got our strongest 11 back, I think, you can't argue that Amrabat and Cassie in the midfield sounds absolutely raw to build from, and then we should hopefully have better quality chances up there. Should play at Anfield while the stadium is being sorted, or play at a field. Do you mean Anfield or a field? Okay, anyway, right, guys. I'm going to wrap this stream up here, folks. Thank you so much to everyone for getting in here. Make sure you drop a like on this video. Come back after this video is finished and get your thoughts and opinions in here about anything we've discussed, So please do that. But come and follow us over to the gaming channel. It's called Flying Pig Gaming. I'll put the link in the chat again here. Thank you, Travadinho, mates. It's a great show. Thank you, guys. Come and join us over on the gaming channel, Flying Pig Gaming. And that way you will be able to hang out with us while we chat more COD about Man United football and life over on the gaming channel, Flying Pig Gaming. Come and join us. Come and join us, everybody, and watch us play some EA FC 24. There's the link. I'll pin it to the top of live chat. Even if you're not going to watch the stream over on the gaming channel, make sure you do us a favor by smashing that like button on it. That'll be awesome and help us on the old algorithm over there as well. So smash the like on the gaming stream, even if you can't watch it. And subscribe to that channel as well, Flying Pig Gaming. That's a different channel to this one. Go over there and subscribe. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, McKay. Thank you, Jay, Momo, ES Clad, everyone. Come back, have your say on this stream as well about anything we've discussed. Appreciate you all getting in here. You are a bunch of legends. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tommy Boyle, Raja, Alex, everyone. All the mods like the Gaming Simp, McKayu, Hoopman, Ulfster, Rushmano, the Mustard, everyone, thanks for getting in here. Do hit the likes. We're almost at 200 likes before you go as well. That'd be amazing. Thank you, guys. That's it from me, though. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and Kick. Thank you, Gaming Simp, Don Berbalad, and everyone else. Follow us on Flying Pig Gaming over there. There's the link right there. And the Cake Cadet as well. How could we forget? Everyone, thanks for joining. See you on the next one. And we'll be back tomorrow, of course, with the watch along. And I'm going to do an afternoon preview show as well. And we'll be getting in there and discussing the latest goings on. Get in there. Thank you, 21 Nick P. Thank you, Momo, Dutch Christ, Kingslayer, and everyone else. Come and follow us over here for a bit of FIFA action. Good night. God bless. Piggy loves you. And remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, as this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.